the UK, spelled Dahyookay, has been thrust into an authoritarian dystopia where you can go to jail for saying stuff, and the police have become an almost totalitarian regime against the civilian population. Thank you for that informative synopsis. Now can you tell us the plot of Watch Dogs Legion? I am Couch Coop. We are going to look at all of the 3 Watch Dogs games in ranked order. We're going to start with the worst, and as that intro suggests, we will be starting with Watch Dogs Legion in its quality mode on the PlayStation 5. Legion is chronologically the newest of the Watch Dogs games, hence these pretty stunning visuals. Even though the mode boasts ray tracing, I immediately got out of it, went over to performance, and yes, the game is pretty stable, but minor bits of screen tear, which is baffling to me on a 9th gen game, and no VSync option either in options. It's not the first time that Ubisoft has given us London, and I would start with Syndicate being the far superior game and representation of that city. This is me just trying to work out what is subtracted from that lighting in the performance mode, and it's not too much, I don't feel, of a minus. We still have some pretty cool effects going on here, and I suppose we should get to the plot of the game. Essentially, the government has outsourced policing to a company called Albion. Yep, I am already yawning, and yes, all of the tropey corporate evil angles are in there. Think Wayland Yutani meets the corporation in Robocop, which is called OCP, if my memory serves me correctly. Rogue City's worth a look, and so is that DLC. But back to the point, don't be fooled by any of those iconic mentions of amazing corporate futurism. Albion are up there with Morrison's when it comes to excitement. This vision of London feels like it's been designed entirely by Ed Miliband. Every single car is electric, most of them are driverless, which has probably saved the animators some time. There's not a single throaty combustion engine in the entire map, and one of the biggest blows, and something that's become more apparent after playing the other 2 games, is the actual lack of bullets and guns and ammunition that fires at a half-decent velocity. It feels like every loadout was personally put together by Greta Thunberg. So you've got Ed and Greta as chief designers of this game model. Now, you heard me talking about loadout earlier there, and saw me flying around on a bunch of motorized dustbin lids. Essentially, this game is about different characters that you find and unlock to create a roster. That is a first for the series. I don't know where they plucked the idea from, and I've got a terrifying feeling that they might have tried to rub that in with some microtransactional currency, i.e. buy this really awesome character. But they all have their own individual loadout, is my point. So who you find, discover, and unlock depends on what you've got access to on a weaponry front, or even abilities.
In my brain now. Oh, my bloody gun's jammed. Oh, this fucking weapon is gonna get me killed.
Before I forget, the game was also partly produced under lockdown as well, which also makes this Albion angle very close to home and a little bit foot in mouth for the writers, to be honest. All the sort of rhetoric against Albion feels a little bit out of touch now. There has been quite a lot of political movement within the UK since this game has come out. The protesters are like, down with this law and order, stop it with all of this tough policing and crimeless streets. It's like, okay, Legion.
Get these bastards off the streets!
It is so far sat in one political camp, and it's put together by people who clearly have a warped view of London. Yeah, I did 12 years. That everyone you meet, everyone you speak to that's supposed to be a good guy just appears weird as hell. There's not one family unit in this game. There's not one mention of a wholesome household. DedSec have just metamorphosized into these extremely unlikable bunch of asexual nutters. Now, I am aware that I am being quite harsh on this game. This isn't the first time I've actually spoken about Legion on the channel either. It got its own video and it performed incredibly badly. This is normal for a lot of my content, but I feel not a lot of people are interested in this, you know, typing it in for reviews or looking it up. I think they may have killed the Watch Dogs series with this game. I sincerely hope not, though. And that brings me on to some of its pluses. It does do some stuff right.
You share your thoughts online. You share your lives online. Now it's time to share your responsibility online. When you see something suspicious, then it's time to speak up.
You've arrived at our contact's former employer. And aside from some heavily armed security guards, it's basically a ghost town.
I do still thoroughly enjoy the game's gadgets. I love the little turret and I love the traditional spider bot that you've got and the variants on being able to sort of upgrade them. They've kind of got rid of that wheel that you would see in the first two games and replaced it with these annoying green circles that you get 10 points each from and then spend on pumping into whatever you like. The operatives do technically have a loadout option where you can edit some of it, but there is no like massive weapon, armory shop, anything like that. You'll get what you're given on a firearm front. Check out the interior rain on this church tower. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018, everyone, just as a reminder. Let's actually check out some of the gunplay, because one of the early operatives gives you an AK-47, can you believe that? And even though the missions seem like they have a big push on stealth, it doesn't mind if you start pulling on that trigger and jumping over cover. And the whole drone edition and the drone economy with their different ranks and what you can take over, what you can hijack, what you can essentially disable is also pretty amazing. I got a massive Gears of War 4 vibe with this scene. I think that may also be another issue, is that every restricted area is almost identical with its box-like design. You've got to creep around and work out an annoying hidden entrance, something like that. Nothing really spills out onto the streets. The game does come with an in-car firing mechanic, but it's barely ever used. The chase stuff is just not enough utilized with this fantastic Watch Dogs model. And I think that's what hurts the most, the waste of a very good engine and some very good ideas. I'll put 17 hours into this game. I got to a section where I just had to walk away from it. One of the operatives said something so offensive, so out of touch, so badly aged, and then asked me to get involved in helping them with said task. I'm not going to go into it, but I was just enraged, and I was done. So what we got next? What's coming up now then? Well, it is Watch Dogs 1. Watch Dogs 1 2014, 8th gen. Yeah, you might want to sit down for this one. Holy sweet baby ink and the fuckwits. What was that? That was, and this is, Watch Dogs 1. You play as a bloke who's generally worried about his family. He's got a wife. You can imagine the Legion writers. Family? Wife? How disgustingly trad. Yeah, I now know what they took from us, bros. I now realise how far down the damn ladder, I'm going to start calling it Legionnaires, fell after playing Watch Dogs 1. My god. The protagonist is a badass. He's got like a noir voice. It's almost like the voiceover you'd see in something like the post-directorial cut of Blade Runner. That's the most obscure reference ever. You guys know what I'm talking about. By the way, we have 3 car options, including in-car and far away, external, even some toggle critical on the interior look. That is our first plus. This is on extra at the moment. Everything you see here, PlayStation 5, but it's on that PS4 HD. Reduced load times. I did look into any performance enhancements, nothing major, but the load time thing's pretty cool. My point is, this is not a million miles from how it looked on launch back in 2014. It's the vast amount of objects that first struck me, full puns intended. Not a lot is bolted down on that map and it looks pretty damn incredible, but this game has a ace up its sleeve in the form of bullet time. If I'd have known how goddamn amazing it was, it would have featured in my bullet time list. We will get into it in a bit more detail, but I wanted to mention all of that dissipation and damage is kind of increased tenfold when you go into that slowed down option. You saw a bit of that on the intro.
It is proprietary information, but we can certainly assure you that any innocent citizen going about his or her day can feel safe.
CTOS make their first appearance in the series, obviously, and the game has quite a cool introduction, almost Minority Report like slick. What I mean is it's got a comprehensible plot. The game is also set in Chicago, and the next game is San Fran, another Democrat-run shit sightseeing hotspot. Spoilers, Coop, haven't you just revealed what the final game is? There's only 3 in the series. My audience isn't 5 years old, they can deduct. This is not Ninja Plays Fortnite. Kudos for the coat flapping on that bike, love it. Let's just talk about that camera for a minute, because it rocks from side to side on the run-in and it's quite panoramic, I mean wide in its angles. The targeted damage animation on that dude as well, and the fact that I've got a gun early doors and I'm firing it in the street is just liberating.
So we have a deal? Shit, yeah, I can't believe you're paying me that much just to make a crank call.
Seeing the hacking mechanic in its infancy, for want of a better expression, is very interesting as well. You're not really troubled with too much interruption on your HUDs. That's very different for Watch Dogs 2. And at this stage in the game, I don't have the bullet time unlocked. It's one of the first sort of perk notches for the weaponry. They have kept that run button on R2, but switched that crouch behind and jump over to opposite buttons, which causes all manner of hilarity. And I've said this before with this game model, particularly with that allocated move to next section of cover button, it does feel a bit Splinter Cell-y. I was pretty awestruck with these visuals as well, and the autonomy of the city itself. And that brings me over to the police and how they work and how harsh they are. They are bang on it, and they've put a mini game in surrounding a ping system which works on a radius. The mini-map fires out this yellow circle, and it's your job to get the hell out of there quick enough before you're detected. They then follow that up with another search circle. So there's 2 stages of getting away. It's pretty amazing, and I'm quite stunned they scrapped it or didn't refine it a bit. There's kind of a variant on it in Watch Dogs 2, but there is nothing like this in Legion. That is just one of the things to add to the massive pile of that game's deficiencies. There's also a penalty, quite a big one, on hitting civilians, and after coming off Sleeping Dogs, where they made it into a mini game, that one took a little bit of getting used to. That's Public Enemy playing there, Chuck D in the old background. I had to cut that off, don't want to get copywritten, but that does point me towards the radio and its vast variety of music. You've got blues, rock, crazy stuff, not stations though. We're not even going to talk about the music in Legion. However, I did hear the Alt J Breeze Block song in the game, so not all terrible. Let's talk about the digital trips. The what? The full-on digital trips that take you somewhere else and just send the game engine into a fever dream. They're amazing.
I was a little fucked up, but this is... You've got some issues. You think you don't need me anymore? Prove it.
think my current favourite is the one with the spider. They don't just come one and done either. They've also got upgrades and different unlocks and perks within them that you spend on your character or machine or car, whatever. I was so gobsmacked. Bring these back, please.
To all units, suspect is mobile in some kind of armored vehicle. Move in to neutralize.
System integrity 25%.
Has anyone noticed a frame drop yet? Has anyone noticed a single screen tear or even major pop-in? I haven't seen any of the above. It's extremely stable for a Ubisoft open world game. I don't get to say that very often. And I was also thinking something's got to be missing from the vehicle lineup, like the boats or something like that. It is all here, including a harbour and including being able to swim. Let's take a closer look at this combat and this level structure and design with doing the main missions and all the side quest material. There is a story campaign, but there's loads of fixture contracts and different things you can do. There's also crimes happening on the streets, but you can peg and then go and look for the criminal within this circle. The detection is ridiculously high, but there is a friggin' mountain to do outside of that campaign structure is what I'm getting at. And I'm thinking back to Legion, its mini games and some of the stuff it has to offer outside of that main game, and it's only getting the operatives or playing keepy uppy. I shit you not. You are also liable to be fired upon by the police if you have enough stars, so to speak. Now, major blow here. At this stage in the game, and it might be something that comes towards the end, I cannot fire from my vehicle. I can select stuff from it, but I cannot equip a projectile weapon. I can send out jamming signals to stop the police radars, but that one I'm kind of willing to take on the chin, considering how amazing the out-of-vehicle combat is, combined with that bullet time and the awesome array of weapons you get given. It's also not afraid to try out some quite unconventional camera teleportation angles. I'm actually in a guard's body cam, so they're doing the walk-in, I'm doing the look-in to try and see what I can hack or take over in order to progress this section of level. Okay, let me show you how it looks and feels when stuff actually hits the fan and things start going really crazy, because it handles it so well. It doesn't feel like you're not supposed to be doing this, and that's some of the angles with the other two Watchdog games potentially, is that Sneak is really pushed forward. With this, if you want to start pulling on that trigger, it's like, go for it.
You're open! Stay down! Run at his sides! Close in, now! Shots fired! Whoa! I need backup, now! This is fucked! Watch your back!
Ram his side!
Other than vaulting things that I think I'm going to crouch behind, I'm having an absolutely incredible time with it, but not as good a time as I'm having with the driving and that slowdown mechanic, which is on R3. Incidentally, look behind vehicle is on X, and combined with the slowdown, you can take your time in choosing what you're going to hack or pull into the road to ruin your pursuer's day.
Stupid damn car! Go on ahead!
There is, of course, a Burnout style snapback of that camera to see what damage you have done or what implement you put through the windscreen of the opponent. That's so satisfying, and it feels so natural within the game model. People blatantly just fall straight out of their cars and you can just hit them in midair. Combined with a civilian casualty penalty, your pulse is racing the whole time. It's how pursuits should be in an open world game like this. Yes, there were a few civilian injuries in the alleyway. You can see them all popping up on the top right hand side there. The next thing that this game does brilliantly is allowing these pursuits to spill out into a full-blown heat-style gunfight. It might be on a dual carriageway, it might be in the middle of the town square, it doesn't matter. You use your car as cover. It's absolutely phenomenal, and again feels really natural within this world that the game has created, and with the engine utilizing all of these great explosions and pedestrians and civilian vehicles.
Group them now! Keep on the gun!
Coop, how is Watch Dogs 2 better than what you've just shown us? How the hell are you going to sell us that game and still uphold your dignity? Well, let me have a fair old swing, because next is the winner.
SMPD, cease and desist!
Go fuck yourself.
I deliberately didn't address the big trailer controversy about Watch Dogs 1, and I would have captured what they showed us prior to the game coming out, but I just didn't want to take any shine off the original Watch Dogs. I also haven't looked at that game on PC, and I can probably push things a little bit higher graphically, so put some comments in the comments if you would like to see more of that game again at a slightly higher spec. And talking of spec, this is Watch Dogs 2 on high, not ultra. It was playing around with me, and it also keeps forgetting to not put itself online, so I do get invaded and weird stuff happens quite a lot. Now check out this bit of stealth.
Where's my back?
I have an alert on a possible target near your location. Over.
Help me out here!
This game is also available on PSN Extra, and I have left the door open to visit it on PS5, but no major 9th gen patches. But it does run at 60 FPS, I think, and I could probably push it to 4K. This may not be the last you've seen of this game. I'm sorry to break it to you.
We got a weapon drawn here! Repeat, gun drawn! Officer involved collision!
Why did I choose to put this above Watch Dogs 1? We don't need to have the conversation about Legion. Well, it falls onto a lot of the abilities and gadgets being built upon quite well, but not too much, and also not dumbed down in the areas that the third game managed quite spectacularly. You've kind of got everything, but you don't have the amazing bullet time slowdown as freely distributed as it is in Watch Dogs 1. It does lose a bit of that cinematic angle, but it's the world they've built and that policing system, and of course how beautiful things look graphically. I still am wowed by this game. 2016, so they did wait a while before coming out with Legion. None of that makes sense. I think it's also the unpatronising amount of weaponry you have access to just off the bat, and also if you're willing to spend some money, and getting the money is loads of fun. You can just go around out and out stealing it off people, but there are loads of objectives that surround currency within the game, and there's just out and out militant combat hardware like army based stuff, and then all this weird dressed up Watch Dogs 2 stuff. Skins, the drone needs to be built, there's races with that. Ed Miliband and Greta Thunberg had nothing to do with this weapon lineup, and it's glorious.
My entry is called... Ah! What the fuck are you doing? You ruin everything! You ruin me! You ruin! Ah!
That's a Terrible Poets thing, right? DedSec also are quite funny, and the whole humour behind a lot of the NPCs, a lot of the plot. This is a Mad Max Thunderdome reference. There's a religious sect called New Dawn, which is a Far Cry crossover. I'm going to go with New Dawn. I keep getting that mixed up with the Mandy religious cult, which are children of the New Dawn. I think I've got that right. And of course, mateys in a pair of leather-studded budgie smugglers, because wholesome.
Battle cry!
The upgrade system is also quite intact from 1, retaining that circular image and then diving down certain avenues and developing equipment that you enjoy using. The choice is massive, and I'm still exploring late game with all of that. And I do miss the digital trips. Unfortunately, there isn't enough of them, but they sort of make up for them with some of the crazy outlandish races. And that campaign comes out with some pretty damn strange stuff as well. Talking of retention, there is a slightly rudimentary version of that police search circle that was going on with the mini-map that they really nailed in Watch Dogs 1. This kind of dumbed down a bit, is not as much of escape in that aspect as I'd like. They just shove loads of stuff at you, including the helicopter.
Get to cover! Tiger support is in. Back up!
Squad, we're back on the suspect. Suspect's lost us. We'll stick around and sniff him out.
The side quests, the mini games, the weapons, the built-on mechanics and gadgets, the engine, the mass amount of vehicle variety, both yours to be delivered and stolen. It's kind of peak for the series for me. And the chase action, it's just too good to miss. You can shoot from your car, you can do the whole reverse look, set up stuff behind you, make the police cars turn drastically in the wrong direction, even shoot out the drivers. It's amazing stuff.
We've got shots fired! Checking it out.
Bye, squad. Suspect got away on us. Do another sweep.
I don't think it's as lofty with its political elitism as well that we saw in Legion. Yeah, this game does lean a little bit to the left. I addressed this in the standalone PC video. It's set in San Francisco, and that angle with the hackers and their attitudes, they do kind of align with it. But I don't think they're afraid to laugh at themselves. And that goes a long way when it comes to bonding with a video game character.
How's the party going?
Say something random.
Okay, beer is oil for the human machine.
Bwomp.
Oh, damn! You just Inception bombed me!
Bwomp.
Humanity's fate now lies at the fingertips of a single hacker.
Womp.
Pineapple pizza is the stuff of nightmares.
Womp.
Thanks for this. I feel epic now.
Womp.
For me, it is also one of the flagships for when Ubisoft were good. The video series you might be aware of spent a number of months sort of plucking out some of their cooler stuff from the backlog. I think Blood Dragon probably needs to go on the channel at some point as well. And I'd love to hear if you played this and just were like, no thanks. Watch Dogs 1 may have been peak for you. And of course, if you went to Legion and had some of the same experiences with me, I'd be very keen to get some feedback. My internet went back on today, by the way. I'm downloading Earth Defense Force 6. Lewis has been alerted. My name was, of course, Couch Coop, and I will see you down there.
Fuck you! Cheating fuck!
America!